stretched, and looked carefully about him. "Sacre dam!" said Leclere under his breath. Assured that no one was in sight or hearing, Batard sat down, curled his upper lip almost into a smile, looked up at Leclere, and licked his chops. "I see my finish," the man said, and laughed sardonically aloud. Batard came nearer, the useless ear wobbling, the good ear cocked forward with devilish comprehension. He thrust his head on one side quizzically, and advanced with menacing playful steps. He rubbed his body gently against the box till it shook and shook again. Leclere teetered carefully to maintain his equilibrium. "Batard," he said calmly, "look out! I kill you." Batard snarled at the word and shook the box with greater force. Then he upreared, and with his forepaws threw his weight against it higher up. Leclere kicked out with one foot, but the rope bit into his neck and choked so abruptly as nearly to overbalance him. "Hi-ya, chook! Mush on!" he screamed. Batard retreated for 20 feet or so, with a fiendish levity in his bearing that Leclere would not mistake. He remembered the dog often breaking the scum of ice on the waterhole by lifting up and throwing his weight upon it, and remembering, he understood what he now had in mind. Batard faced about and paused. He showed his white teeth in a grin, which Leclere answered, and then hurled his body through the air in full charge straight for the box. 15 minutes later, Slackwater Charley and Webster Shaw, returning, caught a glimpse of a ghostly pendulum swinging back and forth in the dim light. As they hurriedly drew in closer, they made out the man's inert body and a live thing that clung to it, and shook and worried and gave to it the swaying motion. "Hi-ya, chook, you spawn of hell!" yelled Webster Shaw, but Batard glared at him and snarled threateningly without loosening his jaws. Slackwater Charley got out his revolver, but his hand was shaking as with a chill, and he fumbled. "Here, you take it," he said, passing the weapon over. Webster Shaw laughed shortly, drew a sight between the gleaming eyes, and pressed the trigger. Batard's body twitched with the shock, threshed the ground spasmodically for a moment, and went suddenly limp. But his teeth still held fast and locked. End of Batard by Jack London. Read by Robert Scott, June the 28th, 2007.